Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bohn N Zano Zone podcast presented by thebuddiesproshop.com. We have my partner, Mike Val, and Chris Forey in the house. We have a very exciting episode today with one of the guys who's been rising the past few years and definitely broke out last year.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, Justin. And without any further ado, let's send the reins over to you and introduce our guest of the evening.
So we have a past Wichita State Shocker, as I'm repping the merch here. We have the one and only PBA playoffs champion, a three-time PBA Tour titleist, and the reigning 2020 Tournament of Champions winner. Let's introduce Kris Prather, the Shark.
The Shark.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's up, Chris? Welcome. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. So, Justin, go right into it. Let's
Go right into it.
Go right into it. No holding back tonight.
All right. So, Chris, a lot of people know that you've been a lumberjack the last year. You won the league. But before we get into that, the PBA actually introduced or announced that they're going back on TV starting very shortly. How excited are you for that, for bowling to be back on?
Honestly, I'm just happy to be, there's something to do now. Like I've been bored out of my mind sitting at home. There's not a whole lot going on right now in the state of Illinois. We're slowly opening up, but it's going to be another couple of months before we're able to really travel or do anything. So I will say that I'm lucky enough to be invited to bowl in June, part of the Clash and the Strike Derby, I think is what it's called. So I'm going to be going down to Florida and bowling both of those events, and hopefully I can come out on top on one of them. So I'm really happy to get out of the state of Illinois for a little bit and get to some better weather.
Chris, when was the last time you touched the ball?
I practiced today, actually. Yeah. But before, I think I go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Did I practice last Tuesday? No, I practiced last Thursday. And that was the first time that I touched a bowling ball, like actually touched a bowling ball in like a month and a half. Whenever I left Vegas, that was the last time I touched a bowling ball.
Yeah.
So
it's
been a while.
Easily the longest that you've gone without bowling, aside from any injuries?
No. There was a point in time where I took a summer off, but this was back in like high school, so this was a decade ago. And I spent the whole summer at a family friend's house it's essentially Apalachicola in Florida, and I fished every single day for 3 months and didn't think about bowling, didn't even care about bowling. So I would honestly do that again in a heartbeat, where I just go fishing every single day. But there's times where a break is very much needed. I was getting to that point this year where I'd been gone for like 3 months, 4 months, whatever it was. And then we still had the end of the World Series plus the Masters plus the playoffs. And I was just like, okay, let's just get through this. Like I'm ready to just relax for a little bit. And I'm feeling more motivated now that, we've had this time off, and I'm getting a little itchy to go out there and start competing again.
So very recently, besides your future show that you're going to be bowling on, I believe it's June 6th on Fox, but the PBA League Draft just happened. How excited are you about the 2 picks that you guys acquired with Martin Larson and Packy?
Oh, super, super excited. Obviously we wanted to try to get Simonelli and Mitch to try to repeat with the same team, but with them opening it up to 2 more teams, we weren't very confident in getting Simonelli at all. He has absolutely run that building over ever since the league has come into existence. Mitch, we were a little bit more hopeful for, and we really had like 3 or 4 guys that were like on our list that we really, really wanted. And Martin and Packy were 2 of them, Mitch being one of the other ones. But we didn't think that Mitch would go that early, so we were pretty confident that we were getting Mitch. It was between Martin and Packy which one was going to go first, and we got very fortunate that neither one of them were taken. And I read a little bit of the flow bowling, like grading whatever thing, and for them to give us a B- whenever Martin is one of the most accomplished international players, in the world, and then Packy, who's been having an absolutely incredible season, and I think they're kind of losing the fact that Packy and I room together, talk like every single day, and then even leaving Vegas, like Packy didn't want to fly from Vegas to Wichita or Connecticut or wherever he wanted to go. So we literally went from Vegas to Wichita to Chicago, and then he kept on driving to Connecticut. So we've literally traveled all the way across the country together. So I think they missed out on that little bit of cohesion that he and I have. And then, Martin gets along with everybody else on the team, and he's a great team player. So I'm super, super pumped. I'm just ready for the league to get here, and I would love for it to be at a time where fans are actually going to be able to be in the bowling center, because that's what makes the league so exciting and so, it's must watch bowling. If there's no fans, then it's just going to be, I hate to say it, but it's going to be pretty boring. Every sport's going to be boring if there's no fans.
It kind of defeats the purpose of going to Bayside, but Bayside is known for that atmosphere. I mean, you want those maniacs there in Maine, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's literally a party the whole time. They have a great time. They love bowling, and like the bowlers are a lot of them are pretty competitive, but they're not like 240 average bowlers. They're just competitive amongst themselves, and they have a great time. And it's great to see, and they just love bowling. They love to just be able to bowl.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool place. That's a bucket list place. I want to get up to there one day and go check it out or whatnot. Something you never see anywhere. Is that probably the most loyal fan base in the country that you've seen so far up in Portland?
Loyal
to the sport,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if yes, they love watching bowling, and they love whenever we come to town, and they always treat us well and everything like that. I think that bowling fans as a whole are pretty loyal, because anytime bowling comes on, if they're true bowling fans, they're going to watch no matter what. Whether there's fans in the stands or not, they're going to be watching on TV and everything like that. Now, the way that I would describe the fans that would make them different than anywhere else we go in the country is that they understand that bowling is like every other sport, like football, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever, where if the crowd is loud and excited and putting all this energy towards the players, that the players are either going to feed off of it and get pumped and loud and crazy and, just get that like adrenaline going. They know that that's going to make it more exciting for everybody. The first time I ever watched the league, I was like, I have to bowl there. I have to do whatever I can to get picked, so that way I can experience that, because it's not very often that you watch bowling, especially in like on TV, because sometimes it can be kind of dry, because either you don't really understand what's going on, or it's not really a close match or whatever, and you're just like, okay, let's just get it over with. But because the crowd is so loud and so into it, it's like, okay, I need to, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, like what's going to happen? What, who's, what's this person's chant? Like, why is it this? Why is it that? And it's a ton of fun. And I really hope that people around the country, whenever they come and, visit us and watch the shows and are on the set, that they'll be like, okay, we need to incorporate Bayside into everyday television. And I want to say that we had an attempt at it right after the league last year at the tour finals, but I think people are just a little, what's the word? A little tentative to doing that, because they don't want, a Pete Weber-esque, type of blow up where somebody's cheering in their backswing and then the bowler or whoever is like, okay, you need to settle down. Like they want to make the bowlers happy. And I think that it's going to take a little bit more time to get the mass bowling fan base to understand that it's okay. Like we can handle a little bit of the cheering while we're bowling and everything like that. Like it doesn't have to be silent, but it's one of those you either have to fully commit to it, meaning you guys are going to be loud all the time, or you're not going to be loud until we throw the ball. And I think once we pick a side, then it'll be a little bit easier for everybody to get on board with that. And I'm really looking forward to that time where everybody gets on board and is just cheering all the time.
Yeah, so you've had probably a lot of experience there, not only from the PBA League, but also from the playoffs in both sides, in the original 12 lanes and then in the new arena. You obviously like that center, and I think that's where the nickname came from, the Shark.
No, the Shark actually came from Tim Mack.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's not readily available. I don't have it with me, but I used to have a phone case that. Oh, there's some. See, I was practicing. There's rosin right there. But the phone case was literally a shark. So when you held it like this, there was shark teeth here and shark teeth here, and on the sides there were fins, and there was a fin up top. Belmo took a picture of it and put it on his Instagram and asked all his fans, like, "Oh, is Prather's phone case awesome or is it garbage?" And everybody, I told him that I was going to win, of course, and I think it was like a 60-40 or something like that. And people said it was awesome. I was like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, Belmo." But yeah, Tim Mack came up with it because I would just leave it like laying flat on the bench, and if anybody picked it up, like it's easy to spot. Like it's a giant shark case that doesn't fit in any pocket that I have, and so he just started calling me Shark from there on, and it just stuck.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's actually a team in Bayside that's it's called Sharks and Strikes. So like their jerseys have shark designs on them. They have like a little shark, like I guess it's like a tiki head type of deal, but it's a shark, and it's like their little lucky charm or whatever. And so that team specifically just like gravitated towards me because my nickname's Shark, obviously. So it just I'm trying to get some jerseys made with their league jersey design because they sent me the jerseys, and so my next couple jerseys coming out are going to be from their league team.
Branding. I like that.
Yeah.
Build the brand.
So tell us a little bit about life before the PBA Tour. You obviously broke out last season with the playoffs and winning your first title, but what happened? I know you went to Wichita. Explain to us what happened at your time in Wichita and before you eventually came out to be a PBA champion.
Well, back before I even went to Wichita, because I almost didn't go to Wichita. The only reason why I went to Wichita was because of Bob Hanley. He was doing
Bob Hanley.
Yeah, he was doing a pin setter seminar with my dad back in Pensacola, and he saw me practicing and was like, "Hey, Anthony, who's out there bowling? He looks pretty good." And my dad goes, "Oh, that's my kid." And Bob goes, "Oh, well, where's he going to college? He looks about that age." And he was like, "Oh, I don't know," because at that time I was between going to like Florida State or a college called Cumberland University, which is where all my buddies were going to go, and we were just going to start a team. And Bob goes, "Has he ever heard of Wichita State?" And my dad was like, "I don't know. I don't think he was planning on going that far." And we also didn't know if out-of-state tuition was going to be crazy expensive or not. But Bob goes, "Well, just tell him he's going to go to Wichita. I'm gonna make a call." So he literally calls Gordon Vatican, and Gordon had reached out to me and asked me if I was interested, and I was like, "I'll come and visit the campus." I've never even considered going to, the greatest college program of all time. Like, I'd never even thought about going. So I went and talked to Coach for a couple days, loved the campus, and I was just like, "All right, well, I'm going to go." And so it was literally like July, I went and visited the campus, and then August, I was in Wichita. So within a month, my whole life plans changed because of Bob Hanley, basically. And, I literally wouldn't be the bowler I am today if I wouldn't have gone to Wichita, and for my whole competitive bowling career, all I ever wanted to do was be good enough at bowling to where all I had to do was throw a bowling ball. I hated the idea of having a 9-to-5 job where you just sit behind a desk and, hate your job or anything like that. Like, I love the freedom that bowling gives me to where I can travel and do what I want. And so when I got to Wichita, having all of these players and coaches that knew so much more than I did, and I just wanted to be a sponge and bowl as much as I could, try to learn as much as I could. Like, when I got to Wichita, I didn't know anything about cores. I didn't know anything about cover stocks. I didn't know anything about layouts. I didn't know anything about reading a lane front to back. Like, I knew bare minimum to make me any kind of, anything successful. And so, once I got there, I spent so much more time on the lanes than I did in the actual classroom, which is why I ended up being academically ineligible. And I used to get a lot of crap for it back a few years ago, and a lot of people blamed me for not having X number of national titles or whatever. And yeah, I could have made a difference, sure, but it's still a team sport. Like, if I'm there and somebody else isn't, then everything's different. But it took me like a solid 3 years after I was finally like, okay, I hate school. I don't want to go. It's not for me. Like, I just don't enjoy going to class and learning from a book. It took me a solid 3 years before I accepted the fact that, like, people might say I'm dumb because I can't go and pass calculus or don't care about writing a speech or whatever. But I know that I'm not. I use my brain every single day. Every time I'm on the lanes, I'm constantly thinking, sometimes things that other people don't or won't or whatever. So, it for a while there, I was a little bit tougher than most people know as far as what people would say and how I'd react to it. But now I don't care. I think that my life choices have put me in the right direction, and I'm able to do exactly what I want when I want, and also provide for my little family, my wife and 2 dogs. So, I couldn't be happier with how all of that transpired, and I can't thank Wichita enough for, basically creating the bowler I am, because before I was nothing.
So it's kind of like you're like an entrepreneur in a way. Basically, you kind of like built your own little business. You did what you wanted to do. You just kind of took the bull by the horns and ran with it. It seems like.
Yeah, I will. I'm not going to lie and say that everything was always great. There was a point in time in college where I lived off of ramen and popcorn, and if you read the Flow Bowling article about it, all of that is true. When I was in between my first semester of bowling and my second semester of bowling in Wichita, for those probably 8 months to a year, I literally could only afford ramen and popcorn, and that's what I ate. Because you can get a thing of ramen for a quarter, and you can get a dozen bags of popcorn for $2 or $3 or whatever. And so now that I have a little bit of money that my wife and I can save and do, invest and everything like that, like, I value the money that I've been able to make. Whereas sometimes you see people that come into money, they're like, oh, I'm just going to spend it because I know I'm going to make more of it. And yeah, I fully intend on, I'm making more money. But if we, let's say I break my hand or whatever, then I'm done. There's nothing, I have no backup plan or anything like that. So I have to plan and invest and, think, not necessarily worst case scenario, but, what if type of deal. So, some of the decisions I not necessarily would change, but I would probably go about doing what I did a little bit differently, for sure.
Did you have like a moment when you realized, like at Wichita, like, you know what, I'm at the level now where I know I want to go to the next step? Did you win an event that gave you that confidence to say, I can go on tour, I can make it out there, I can bowl with the best, you know?
No, there wasn't anything like that. It was more so a culmination of things. Because after my freshman year, I told you I wasn't very good at all whenever I got to Wichita. After my first year at Wichita, I go to USBCs with my dad. And my dad, probably 15 years ago, he was pretty good. And then we were playing basketball and he broke his elbow. Like, he fractured it all the way up here and up his tricep. So for like 6 or 8 months or something like that, after he had gotten the cast and had it healed and everything like that, he couldn't straighten out his arm. So he's not near as good as he was. So I bowled with him and a bunch of his friends, and I ended up finishing second in singles my very first year, and finished like 8th or 10th or something like that, or 6th or whatever, in all events my very first year at USBCs. And then the following year, or maybe it was the same year. Same year, I think I win my first regional against Walter Ray, and then the 2 years later, I win another regional, and then the year after that same year, I win the Paragon Open up in Michigan. It was just like continued success and growing this confidence, and I was like, at a lot of these tournaments, I bowled against some of the best in the world already. So what's stopping me from just going out there on tour and trying it? And when I first started out, I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 years. If I don't make a TV show, if I don't win, or I'm just losing money, just hemorrhaging money to where I can't afford to be out there anymore, I'll quit. I won't bowl anymore. I won't bowl Masters. I won't bowl US Open, nothing. Because I'm the type of bowler where I'm going to bowl at the absolute highest level that I can, or I'm not going to do it at all. I don't bowl league. I don't bowl anything. I bowl some side stuff, but only if it's really, really worth it. Like I'm going to get some really good competition reps, or I'm going to have an opportunity to make a good bit of money. So my first year, I think I made like 2 cuts, maybe one. It wasn't very many. I know I made the cut at the Masters, and I think that might have been it. Second year, I made a couple more cuts. Third year was the year where I made all the shows at the Summer Swing in Tulsa, I believe. Is that right? No, that was where I almost made my first show at the World Series. The fourth year was where I made the show at all the shows at the Tulsa Summer Swing, and then the U.S. Open in Wichita, and then last year number 5. But I actually even cut that a year short, where at year 4 I was like, okay, I have to make a TV show. Like if I don't make a TV show this year, then we're going to cut back. We're not going to go out there as much, because up to this point I was basically even. Like I wasn't bringing in any more money than what I was taking out over the last 3 years. So I was like, okay, we got to make some money. We got to build this confidence. We got to prove that we're continuing to get better, and get on some kind of roll where we start making TV shows, start making more cuts, start having an opportunity to win. And I felt like as long as I had the opportunity to win, I would gain that experience to where I could learn to win on TV, and then finally win my first title. And if you look at that year of 2018, you definitely see that as like I made a show at the Players, and then it was kind of dry, but I was still making cuts. And then Tulsa came around, I made every single show, and then I made the U.S. Open show, and then come around the next year and make the show at was it Jonesboro? Yeah, I made a show at Jonesboro, and then I made a TV show at the World Series, and finally ended up winning. And that's my whole goal, is just to continue learning, continue getting better, because if you're not, especially when you're bowling against the best in the world, they're always getting better. They're always getting smarter, trying new things. So you just have to, I just focus on being creative in that aspect of learning. Because you might think, okay, I'm at the top right now, but then EJ's like, I learned a new skill, and then he's ahead of you, and then Belmo, and then Rash, and Bill, and everybody. So it's a never-ending battle of who can get that new skill to where they're getting closer on something that normally they wouldn't be very good on.
Good stuff. So let's forward, I guess. You won your first title. Let's go to this year. Let's go to the TSC. I mean, that has to be like the pinnacle of your career, to say the least. I mean, we know you won the 100K last year in the playoffs, but the tournament champions, winning in a Riviera, that building, the history there. Take us through it. I mean, I know that has to be just something that you'll never forget, probably.
Well, what's funny about that is I don't remember much of it. I was just so focused. Like, I was honestly, after the first game, I was so relaxed that I just got into this little bit of a zone where I was just like, okay, I'm doing exactly what I want to do, exactly what I really love to do on the lanes, which is give it that kind of slow wheel, real soft at the bottom, and just feeding it to the right. And basically, anytime I feel like I can miss right, I have my swing gets so loose, and that's when it becomes really fun for me. So on that show, the only thing I can remember focusing on is just the first couple steps of my approach, and then after that, it's blank, because my mind was just so slow and so quiet that, you know, it was like, okay, my start is good, and then, you know, everything else just falls into place for me at that point. Like, when you see me struggle on the lanes, 9 times out of 10, it's first step is a little quick or a little like too firm, meaning like typically my first step is a little bit of a slide or a push maybe. But whenever I'm bowling bad, it'll actually like come up off the ground and it'll be a full step instead of a slide. So for me, whenever I'm bowling, that's literally all I focus on. But to get to your question a little bit more, yeah, TOC, you know, it's going to be it. I don't know if it'll be necessarily like a defining moment of my career necessarily, unless I, you know, win like 3 more, 4 more or something, you know, whatever. But I think people, at least this is what I hope, I think people will look back and be like, wow, that TOC really catapulted Prather into, you know, it gave him that confidence to then go accomplish this or this or this or, you know, whatever. And it'll be kind of like that slingshot that shot me into, you know, this line of success that I'm striving for. You know, my biggest, I don't even want to call it a fear, but it's something that I battle to prevent, I guess, is that you see a lot of people, they'll have success, and then they'll either plateau or they'll be gone from the tour. Like, you know, where they stop making cuts, they stop making shows. And I don't want that to happen. I love bowling on TV more than anything. Like, the excitement, the nerves, or how anxious I get to just get there and be a part of it. The fans, like, it's this incredible feeling, and that I strive to bowl on TV until I get to TV. Then it's time to win. And I think it's a little bit different way of thinking about it. I think it's a little bit more interesting that way. But you know, because everybody wants to bowl on TV. They want to bowl on Fox. They want to, you know, they want to be they want to be in the lights. And I think that thinking of it in the way that I do makes me push myself even harder to make sure that I continually get there.
So you are pretty big in everything with the house, with the vlog, Brad and Kyle, their YouTube channel, everything that goes on there. You room with Pride. There's 10 guys in the house?
Yeah, on occasion. Nick stays with Sloan and Frankie, I think.
Yeah.
But when everybody else is out there, we're all in the house together. Yeah.
So describe what that's like, because I know that that's obviously a lot of people can see it just from the YouTube channel, but describe what life is like off of the camera with all those guys.
It's pretty chill. We just hang out. Like the guys particularly don't like me at night because I snore. So I get the best beds. I'm always like, where were we? Was it I think it was the TOC, or maybe it was the Players. Either way, it was somewhere in Ohio. There was one bed on the first floor, and then everything was upstairs. And I was like, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I'll either sleep in this bed by myself, which was a queen or something like that, and I'll be on this first floor by myself, or I'll sleep in a room with 4 other dudes and keep you guys up all night. And they're like, no, get downstairs. You can have that bed. It's fine. And I was like, all right, whatever. But obviously that week I bought everybody lunch or dinner or whatever for basically the whole week, and so I think it evened out.
Good stuff. I suffer from the same problem, so I can totally relate to the whole snoring issue. And yeah, it sucks.
I'm waiting on the day that they go and give me the nasal strips or whatever, and or one of those
the mask.
The masks. Yeah,
that would be
on that day.
So yeah, so forget putting you in the ice bath. I'll just give you the mask instead and vlog you that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but my luck, because I sleep like this. So my luck, I'd kink the hose and I wouldn't get any oxygen or anything. So I'd snore anyway. But yeah, no, it's really, really chill. Like, I normally take like my PS4 or whatever. There's always like gaming console of some sort. So there's a lot of hanging out, playing video games, or Brad, Kyle, Nick. Who else?
Packy.
Darren and Mikey. Well, I was thinking of the guys that work out.
Oh.
Those 5 typically. Yeah, those
Okay.
5 typically like to work out or whatever. Now that the PBA gave us the Planet Fitness membership, before the lockdown happened, I was going because I have a little issue with my knees where they get just tired and sore. So what better way to make that go away than do a bunch of squats and run and stuff. So trying to make my legs stronger so that way I don't have that bit of fatigue. But pretty chill. We fight over where we're gonna go to dinner because some people like to blow your mouth open hot stuff and other people don't. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty chill.
Sounds good. So Justin, should we go into the final 10?
I think so. I think that sounds like a good plan. Kris, you got one question for him?
I mean, first time I ever saw you on TV, you were texting the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Did you get in trouble for that?
Not by the PBA because I had asked before. I got in. A lot of other people didn't like it though. A lot of people thought it was really rude, and literally the only reason why I did it was because it was my first show, and literally, so that's the tournament that I actually that the Shark. Because the case was a Shark phone case. That's where the Shark nickname came from, that tournament. So I was just texting my best man because I was getting married later that year. So I was texting him the entire show, just like telling him kind of like what I was feeling, what was going on, and just talking through the match. And that way I could focus on what I was feeling instead of what Tom was doing. I was bowling Smallwood. And so, yeah, I mean, like the PBA was fine with it. Marshall Holman's face whenever he realized what I was doing is really funny. But yeah, I mean, there were a few people that they didn't reach out to me specifically, which I wish they would have, because I think it would have been a really interesting conversation because, for anybody that knows me, I'm not a rude or, I'm not that type of guy that is just going to like stick my nose up and not talk to you or or treat you in a poor manner or anything like that. Like, I talk to everybody, and I feel like I treat everyone equally. So I think that it was just more so people that didn't know me and they didn't understand what the situation was for me. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't texted on TV since because there was so much backlash from people towards, Tom, like, oh man, how are you going to let him do that? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm not doing it again. So it's fine. Like, not a big deal for me. It was just a comfort thing. And, I will say I have talked to a couple of the people that did not agree with it and kind of explained my situation, and I heard their side of it. So, for those people that I have talked to, we're on good terms. So, whatever.
Without naming names, was it a lot of the older players on tour, or like the newer or the younger guys?
Well, one of them actually wasn't a guy at all. One of them was a girl, and then one of them wasn't one or two. We'll say two was an older
veteran.
So, yeah,
a veteran.
But none of them were bowlers on tour. So I don't think the bowlers had like an issue with it at all. They didn't care. Everybody has their own little thing that they do that helps them focus on something other than just bowling. So that way they can spend their entirety of their focus when they're on the approach. So at least that's what I do. There was a point in time where I was reading in between shots, just so that way I was doing something else other than just watching other people bowl and watching scores and watching this leaderboard and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then the mind goes at 1,000 miles a minute, and there you go.
Yeah, yep. Exactly. And for me, it's just a little bit of an escape where, okay, I'm talking to whoever, and I'm having this conversation, or I'm texting the ball reps like, hey, this is kind of what I'm seeing, whatever. And that's how I bowl. Like, a lot of the time whenever I'm bowling, I'm having conversations with fans or people I know or the ball reps, just so that way I can move my focus from bowling to anything else, really.
Awesome. Good stuff. So, Justin, I'm going to take over with my final 10. Are we good with that?
Go ahead.
So, Kris, what we do here when we wrap up with our guests, we go one-on-one with me, basically.
Okay.
And I have a random 10. Anything goes. We let it fly. And we don't hold back on the final 10. So, if you are ready, I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so let's do the first one. Number one, what has been your most embarrassing moment at a tournament ever?
I was like 16 or 17 bowling a travel tournament. And came down to the last game before the step ladder. And if I didn't know it, but I thought I needed like 265 or higher to make the step ladder. And I had the front 9, left a wrap 10, and then I missed it. So I shot 267 and ended up missing the top 5 by 1. And I got mad. And the circular like ball racks or whatever?
Yeah.
Normally they're bolted to the floor, right? Well, this one was not, and I hit it, or like kind of like shoulder blocked it, I guess, and it fell over. The bowling balls went rolling, and they actually ended up putting a dent in a couple of lockers, so I had to take care of that.
Whoops.
Yeah, and but I'll give you one a little bit better. Bowling this is probably I'd say they're pretty close to a tie because I was a hothead back in high school. But bowling Ozarks in Missouri, and I bowled really well in singles and doubles. And in team, I needed like 680, 670 or something like that to take over all events and win all events basically because it was like one of the last weekends. And I started with 190, and then I shot 300. And then the next game, I have like 240-ish, 250-ish going into the 10th. And I'm like, okay, I just need a mark. And this little, there's a girl that does all the score taking and everything like that. And She's sitting down next to me, and I step up, throw the shot, get 5 through the middle, stand back by the ball return, and just like standing there. And I look up, look down, look back up, and I just yell a huge F-bomb where it echoes through the bowling center. Everyone just looks at me. I get up, shoot my spare, get 3, and I start throwing my bowling balls into my bag and run out to the truck, throw my bags in the truck. And then I walk back inside, start doing the math, and I'm like, damn. All right. So, and this was actually the semester I failed calculus. So I get my phone out and I start doing the math, and I'm like, crap. Okay. So I walk up and I'm like, the same girl that I yelled this F-bomb right next to, and I scared her so bad. Like, I felt so bad that I scared her. I go over there and I'm like, could you please tell me what the all events lead is right now? And she's like, oh, you think you got a chance? I was like, yeah, unfortunately I do. And she goes, oh, it's this number. And I was like, perfect. She was like, guess you didn't need more than 5 after all. And I was like, all right. Perfect.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
not a story I tell many people.
I like that one. Well, we like that stuff here. We want some meat with the final 10, so we want this stuff. And this will be a good one. So let's get some meat on this one here. Number 2. Obviously, when a bowler bowls bad, it's never us. It's always the lanes or the approaches were bad. The lane man was, drunk that day. It's never the bowler, right? So, guy on tour that complains the most when they bowl bad, that never admits it's him. It's always somebody else. This is a good one, Justin. I thought of this one last night.
That is a good one because I have to pick my words wisely here.
Well, we know who the cheapest guy on tour is. We know all this stuff. So we want to see who's the one guy it's never his fault. It's always somebody else's fault.
Can I pick the field? Because I think everyone does it at some point. But the guy that comes to mind and he actually was suspended for a little bit for it. And I love Ryan. I think he's a great guy. But Simonelli is probably the one that vocalizes it the most, especially on social media, which is why he got suspended. Because I think everyone at some point blames it on something else, but he's the only one that has vocalized it. So I think that's my safest play here is to say Simonelli.
That's a good one. All right, he pleads the fifth to an extent, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 3. So your housemates, right?
Yep.
You got to bowl doubles with somebody, beat somebody for a title, kick somebody out of the house. Go.
Bowl doubles with somebody. That one's easy. I'd pick Packy.
Lefty.
Yeah, duh. Purple hammer. Duh.
Yeah, it's purple hammer, stand on the big dot and throw it. Okay, well said.
I mean, that's what I tell him all the time. I will say he gets mad about that. Whenever I say, man, you're just throwing a purple hammer again. He gets a little testy about it. But no, Packy, he's one of the hardest competitive, he's one of the most competitive guys I know. And he's very much like me, where he's always trying to get better. And because if you watch him bowl, you wouldn't know that he's only been bowling for a decade. You'd think he'd be bowling since he was a kid, but he's really only been bowling for a decade, maybe 12 years. And so I love how hard he works, and I'd bowl with him any day of the week. But who I had to kick out, I'd say if I had to kick out somebody, it'd be Nick Pate, because we all love to dog on him, and why not? We'll just keep it going. And if I had to beat somebody for a title, I would. Okay, I'm gonna pick 2 here because I think it's gonna be funny. If I had to beat somebody for a title, I'm gonna pick Brad Miller because his spare shooting has been a little suspect on TV. But I hear he's practicing. And then the other guy would be Nick Pate because if he needs 2, he's still gonna try to throw it at the gutter and it might go in. So.
All right, let's go to 4. Justin, this is one of my staple questions here. Favorite and least favorite center to bowl on, or the bowl at on tour?
Ooh,
Justin, we're going to see if he adds the least favorite one to the list.
Yep.
That's a tough one. I don't like bowling at South Point.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, just like not because of anything like lane wise or anything like that. I just feel like it's either left is walled or
What else is new?
well, I mean that since that center was created because the lanes are so flat and they only run tournaments there, like there's no real track. So the lefties can, kind of bump it off a 5 on basically everything. But it's I don't know. It's just I feel like when I get there, it's like I just have this like weird feeling. It's just weird. I don't know. Yeah. Favorite place to bowl at? I love bowling at Bayside. I love it. Like growing up, I never had like, how Justin, you probably know, where like you're at a youth tournament, you're probably the guy where there's always people just behind you cheering. Like if you're in the step ladder, people are always like, "Go Justin!" Yeah. I never had that. Like no one wanted me to win. And then when I did win, nobody would come up and congratulate me. So to have literally a whole basically city that loves me because I'm the shark and I've won in that bowling center and everything like that is just really, really cool. And obviously I'm saying other than bowling at home back in Pensacola because but yeah, the people of Bayside, I feel just like I'm 10 feet tall whenever I go there. It's really awesome.
Good answer. Good answer there. All right, let's go to 5. If you can go back in time and compete against any of the legends on tour, who is the one guy you would want to compete against?
That's a good one.
I've changed them up a little bit for you tonight, Mr. Shark.
Yeah, that one's a good one. I would say I'd want to bowl against Robert Smith whenever he was in his prime, just because like he's the one-handed Belmo. Like I feel like he would just tear up a lane, and it would be like it'd be kind of like following Belmo today, where it's like, okay, well, how far left was he? Is my ball going to hook this time? It would just be super confusing. Like obviously, if I bowl against Earl, then he's on the left cutter and I'm doing whatever the hell I want to do. But yeah, I think that right-handed Robert Smith back in his prime would be really cool.
And Justin, if you remember when we had Barnes on, he said that Robert was the guy who should have won at least 30 titles. He said he was like the ideal perfect bowler. He had the big shoulders, narrow hips, great swing. Yep. And Kris actually said that he was actually better at throwing it straight than hooking it, which is like really incredible. He was phenomenal hooking it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at his swing was dead straight too. Yeah. Like he had a super straight swing, and he could throw it 100. So I mean, like, I imagine that it was harder for him to throw it slower than it was for him to throw it fast, especially with how big he was.
Yeah. All right, let's go to 6 there, Mr. Prather. It's a hidden talent that you have that nobody knows about, or the general public doesn't know about.
Ooh, I don't know if I have any hidden talents.
No singing, nothing like
that? No, I'm a terrible singer. I have no rhythm. I can't dance, nothing. No, I think the only thing that I do that people don't really know about is that I'm a pretty good fisherman. Like back, when I was more active and everything like that, I was a pretty good athlete. I was kind of good at like every sport, but there was always something that I was not good at that prevented me from playing that sport. Mm-hmm. So like baseball, could hit it, catch it, throw it, but I couldn't like field a ground ball for anything. All right. Okay. I see you guys.
Love it.
All right. She's upstairs in the room with the dogs. So I didn't think she was watching, but that's good. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. I'm surprised she didn't say,
There's still time for her to say something else.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't say doing whatever my wife tells me to, because I do.
The two best words you can learn in a marriage is yes, dear, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I've been saying them a lot lately since being home. But yeah, I mean, like, back when I was in college, I was like the sneaky athletic guy where, nobody expected me to run because I didn't really like it. But then when I did run, they were like, oh, okay, he's actually running now. And then nobody thought I could catch either. And then I was snagging Frisbees and footballs and all that other stuff out of the air. And they're like, who is this guy? So, but other than that, I'm a bit of a fisherman. That's about it.
So I want to touch on Mrs. Prather's comment then. So leaving laundry everywhere. So are you like not a neat? Are you kind of like a not a neat freak, or are you just no?
No, I'm okay. What she's talking about is whenever I go to get in the shower, I'll stand, because we have double vanity sinks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stand in front of my sink, get undressed, and then they stay there until whenever. Until it's like, oh wow, I'm out of underwear, I need to do laundry. Then I'll go and like, oh, maybe I should pick up my laundry now. That's what she's talking about. And then like whenever I go to bed, I'll stand on the side of the bed, get ready for bed, and then the laundry's on the floor next to the bed. She absolutely hates it. Part of me does it just to kind of mess with her, because she does stuff like that too, but that's about it.
I doubt that. But let's go to number 6 or 7. The wife will never do anything wrong, Chris. You got to realize that.
Oh yeah, she did say she was wrong on 2 separate occasions, and the first one was we were singing a song, and she was like, "That's not how the lyric goes," and I was like, "No, I guarantee you it is." And she looked up the lyrics, and she was like, "All right, you're right," and she wouldn't let me record it though, so there's no real proof.
I don't believe it. All right, number 7. Number 7. What's your go-to restaurant on tour?
Ooh, Raising Cane's. If I could get sponsored by Raising Cane's, that would be awesome.
What is that?
You don't know the fried chicken finger place?
I don't. I'm from Jersey. I
might not have them up there.
No, they don't have it. No, we don't. So you gotta have to describe this here.
Okay, so literally, it's just chicken fingers and fries. That is it. I literally go there just for the sweet tea though. Like the chicken fingers are pretty good, the fries are pretty good, but the sweet tea is my weakness. I can go without soda. I can, I don't have to drink energy drinks or anything like that. But like in this right now is sweet tea. So yeah, I mean, that is my go-to restaurant. Like the guys in the house, they're like, oh, we're going to go eat tonight. I'm like, oh, there's a Cane's up the road. And they're like, oh yeah, of course, Cane's. they hate it. They won't go with me. They'll go, but they won't invite me.
All right, let's go to 8. What's your biggest pet peeve on the lanes?
Ooh, biggest pet peeve would probably be people throwing stuff. Just like being inconsiderate to like, especially while other people are bowling, like either they drop their bag and it makes a really loud noise or whatever. Like, my rookie year on tour, I got mad at somebody because I was trying to, I think we're at the US Open. I'm not bowling that great. Trying to go through like this little walkway or whatever. And somebody picks up this bag, it's not theirs, and they just chuck it. It went probably 10 or 15 feet, and they just chucked it. And they were like, I can't believe people leaving bags, blah, 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 blah. And the person was literally bowling right there. Like they were bowling on the lanes. And so like I stopped the person. I was like, look, that's not your bag. Just put it back. It wasn't in the way. You could have walked around. Like, what's the big deal? Like, just because it's in your way at that time doesn't mean that you can be so inconvenienced to just walk around. You wasted more energy throwing the bag than you did walking around it. Like you'd already be to your lane if you would have just walked around. Like things like that, they get me going. And especially now that I'm more vocal and I am less tentative to where like I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or I don't want to get on somebody's bad side, because now I'm to the point where like I don't really care. I will either stand up for myself or someone else in that situation. Or if somebody calls me out on it for doing it, because I'm not going to say I'm perfect and I've never done it before, but if somebody does call me out on it, then like, yeah, okay, I did do it or whatever. I will apologize in that instance. And I could talk about that for another 20 minutes or whatever, but that gets me going.
All right. So let's go to 9. I think I'm going to know the answer to this one. I think you probably answered this one already. So what's the one thing that kind of totally takes your mind off a bowling, makes you relax when you're home?
Yeah, going outside, fishing, or I play a lot of video games when I'm at home, mainly because, weather's bad, can't go outside. What else are you going to do? We're at the point in our house where like we could paint if we wanted to. We're just not really sure what we're going to do. But there's, I can't finish my basement because we don't have a fence yet. So I'm not going to spend $15,000 on my basement when I got to spend $15,000 on a fence.
I kind of relate to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for 6 months just to get sod, and we're almost at the 2-week mark. Monday will be 2 weeks, so I'm ready to get my deck built, get the fence put in, so the dogs can just roam around wherever they want, and then on nice days I can sit on the back porch or back deck and just grill and
fold your laundry.
No, I won't fold laundry outside.
I
don't even do laundry.
I was sitting outside before the show, and Kris sent me a message and said, "Hey, is it 5:45 your time or my time?" And I look at my phone and it's 5:30. I'm like, "Oh crap! I have a show to do."
Now, are you handy, Kris? Are you doing all this stuff yourself, like the painting? I mean, obviously, like the deck building and basement stuff. I mean, are you Mr. Handy, or you're? But I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm miserable. Not happening. Like I'm in the same boat you're in. Like I just moved into a new place, a new construction, and yeah, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm hiring people.
First of all, hey Christian, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're matching your dad with your super Kris Prather shirt. I saw that. No, I am not the handiest of people. I can figure out what needs to be done. If it's something relatively simple, like I hung some pegboard in my garage. Like I know how to find a stud. I know how to hit a stud. But if it's something like, so I don't know if you guys can see or not, but right there where that TV is, my wife wants to put in, it's essentially like a giant shadow box, basically with some kind of paneling or whatever. And she wants to do that. So first, figuring out what she wants to do is the first challenge. And then making sure that she's happy once I get the plan to start doing it is the second challenge. But, building the frame and everything like that, I can figure that out. I'm not incompetent when it comes to doing that stuff. Growing up, my dad used to build privacy fences, and I'd help him do all that. I'd help him, I guess it's my brother-in-law. I don't know. My sister-in-law's husband, he's finishing his basement right now. So I've been helping him and my father-in-law. My father-in-law is a carpenter, helping them to finish the basement. So, I mean, like, I'm not incompetent, but
right.
I will YouTube or Google some stuff.
Look at your hands. They're not afraid to put a hammer and a screwdriver in your hand. I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big deal. Work's got to be done. You do it.
Yeah, no, I'm a coward. And you know what? my problem is that I'll do that, and then I did it incorrectly, and then it comes off the wall, and she does it the right way. So. Oh
yeah, no, fair.
Kris Forey can probably understand what I'm saying with that one, right?
I believe you pay other people to do everything.
See, for me, it's how much is it going to cost, and is that cost worth it? Because like when we put in our fence, the materials for the fence are going to cost probably anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. And then if I pay somebody to do it, I might as well just double that price. For that price, I'm just going to do it by myself. I'm not going to spend $5,000 to $7,000 to pay somebody else to do it. Like I'll get it done in the same amount of time, and I won't have to like worry about what they're doing or what they're tearing up. Because if I tear it up, then it's on me.
That's a lot of digging for yourself,
isn't it? So I send it to somebody else.
Oh yeah. See, like, and what you're
I have zero skills.
Yeah, you're like, I know how to drill bowling balls, and I'm good. But yeah, like you were talking about digging the holes for the post holes. But when I helped my dad build the privacy fences, that was my job. I dug the holes. So it's not like I've never done it before. And yeah, digging a 3-foot hole or 4-foot hole or whatever it's going to be with post hole diggers isn't the most fun. You know, your arms and shoulders get a pretty good workout, but you know, I would rather do that work myself than pay somebody to do it when it's not excruciatingly difficult work. You know, like it's not something that I can't do myself.
This guy is really something else, ladies and gentlemen. He is a man of many hats, and I got the last one for you, Kris. How many titles does Kris Prather think he's going to win in his career?
Ooh, I would. If I keep my drive that I have to continue to learn and get better, then I will say 20 plus. But things that people don't know is, well, no, I'm pretty vocal about it, is that I can be very, very lazy. I think that if I worked out, I'd probably already have like 7 or 8 titles right now. But there were a lot of times that I didn't get to TV because I was too tired. So I think if I bring the whole equation together, the whole formula together to where I'm working out, I'm a little bit healthier and making better decisions as far as my life goes, with food and everything, then 20 plus easy.
Got to cut the sweet tea out.
No.
See,
I cut soda out.
See, Justin, I just acquired a new personal trainer, I guess you want to call it that. And Kris, we did a show over the weekend. We did a live thing with the draft, and I acquired a new personal trainer that night. You may know this guy. He's actually from Barquisimeto, Venezuela.
Wow.
And Leto has agreed to start working with me and doing work. Oh my God. Yeah. We talked for about 90 minutes last night, and he's going to bury me. So you can dig the hole for me. You can dig the hole. And we were talking about like his routine last night, and he runs 6 to 8 miles a day, and it's insane what he does. So so if Kris Prather was to end his career, 20 plus titles is the number that you want to get to. That would be a good career for you.
Honestly, if I get to, I could end my career right now. Like worst case scenario is, I blow out my knee and I can never bowl again. I'd be happy now because I've accomplished so much already. I have a major title, and I have I won the very first playoffs ever. So I could look back on my career and be like, yeah, I could have accomplished more if I didn't get injured or whatever happened, but I wouldn't have any kind of regrets or wishes like, oh, I wish I could have accomplished this, because I've made 3 or 4 major TV shows now. So I look forward to the future and accomplishing more, but I wouldn't be upset if it ended today.
Good stuff. That's all I got, Justin.
All right, Kris, you have anything else?
I just want to share a quick story, and it comes down to when you talked about the texting and how some people thought you were being a little bit rude, disrespectful. The first time I met you was in Maine. So what I don't even know is that we signed Kris as he was driving to the first round of the playoffs. He was driving to Maine, and we signed him thanks to Packy and Matt Dzikowicz that works here. And I went to the finals. We sat down, we talked. And then we went to dinner in Vegas, and during Bowl Expo, and I thought the coolest thing was, first of all, my son loves you. We saw that already. I put that up there. But just how, like you were saying, how I just think you're very humble. I've said that all along. I talked to you about that. Just stay that way. But I thought it was the coolest thing. Like my son had the window down, screaming at you. He was 5 at the time, screaming at you across the parking lot at South Point. Like, Kris Prather, Kris Prather. And then you came over, and my wife and Janine's like, oh, I'll sit in the back. You can sit in the front. And Christian's like, no, Kris, you have to sit back here with me. And you did. Like, you sat there. I thought it was the coolest thing. I mean, it was like a 20-minute ride across the city to get to our restaurant. and you were talking to him the whole time, and dinner. And I remember leaving dinner and just saying to you, stay how you are. Just stay humble. If you stay that way, the people will love you. You'll have a great fan base. And I just wanted to say that story because when you said that people thought you were being disrespectful or whatever, just from knowing you and meeting you, that what I mean, and you're not that way, and that's why my son will always love you. As he has Uncle Parker, who obviously is a legend. But it's you who he loves to watch and wants to emulate. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, Christian's a great kid. I love hanging out with him, and the videos you show, like send me of like before each tournament. I don't know if you want me to tell everybody this or not, but
yeah, we can talk.
Okay. Yeah, so Forey and Christian would just send videos of Christian yelling "Let's go" because that's Packy's thing, where it's just like "Let's go," and Christian would do that, and he would tell us good luck and everything like that before every tournament, or even before blocks at the same tournament, and it's really really cool. So I know that Packy and I definitely appreciate it, but yeah, it's I take a lot of that to heart, where I try to be as humble as possible, because in college I was not. I was very egotistical. I thought I was better than I was, and getting my teeth knocked in for a few years definitely opened up my eyes, like, wow, you're not anywhere near as good as you thought you were, and there's always somebody better out there, so why act like you're better than everybody when you probably not.
Yeah, no, I think that's what makes you, and will help you become an even bigger star, as the fans will follow you and they'll be behind you the whole time because of what you bring to the lanes, and how friendly you are with everybody and just how humble you are.
Yeah, and like I was saying, before, where in high school, like, nobody wanted to see me win or anything like that. So whenever I meet somebody that truly supports me and really is like, man, I love watching you on TV. We watch you every time. I rewatch your shows, everything like that. Like, it's hard for me to not want to just hang out with them and show them that I appreciate it, because they don't have to like me. They don't have to watch me. They don't have to support me in any way, shape, or form. And so, hanging out and talking to those people is just a small way that I can, show my appreciation for them to even care, really.
Great stuff.
Awesome stuff.
Thank you, Kris Prather, the Shark, and Chris Forey of BuddiesProShop.com for joining us tonight. We definitely had a great time. So if you're watching on Facebook, like our page, follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you always know when we're live. But this is the Bohn N Zano Zone. Thank you guys for watching.
Yep. And not to mention really quick, Justin, we will have our next show next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We will be having another legend joining us next Tuesday. You forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah. Deandra Asbeatty.
Deandra Asbeatty will be joining us next week. So she'll be coming into the zone, and she'll be enduring my 10 questions. But we learned a lot about Mr. Prather tonight. He is kind of handy. He leaves his laundry all over the house. But you know what? He's a great guy. Chris, thanks a lot for joining us, man. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Good talking to you.
You got it,
Everybody,
guys.
have a great night. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bohn N Zano Zone, where we are always on the lanes, off the chart, and on the mic.
Thanks, guys.